Yo, what is happening today? We are going to talk about some red pill theory, philosophy, but on the sexual market value. But more importantly than that, we're not just going to talk about the sexual market value. We're going to talk to you about how you can actually use it or bypass it in order to have sex. How you can use it and bypass it so that you can sexually escalate and live the sex life that you want. So we're going to talk about some pretty cool stuff. What is evolutionary hardwired in us? What is socially taught to us? But how a man and a woman isolated can achieve a sexual experience a lot easier than you think. All right, let's get started. I'm Steve Mayeda. We're in Austin, Texas. It's a beautiful day. May 14th. This is my red pill journey. Let's get started. Hey, so check this out. Here is the thing, guys. I've been a men's coach for 12 years, and in that time, I believe that you can be your best self. You can be fulfilled sexually. You can be fulfilled in all the different ways that you want to be, and be confident, live a great life, be empowered, feel like a man via any ideology that you can get. So whether that's the red pill, whether that's outside of the red pill, whether that's just being yourself and learning a couple skills, you can get there. And I can prove that you can get there because it's been done over and over again by guys that I've taught, by guys that are some of my friends that have been teaching for a long time. So I really want you to have that. So let's dive into this. The sexual marketplace means that within our society, within our world, within how we live, which is an augmentation of how we evolved, we have different things that we look at. Now, some of those are socially learned because we live in an augmentation, meaning that we might look at money or status or power as something that gets us attention. But there's also an evolutionary component that propels us, and this is a theory, right? And there's a lot that this gets misinterpreted vastly of when we're going to talk about that, especially when we get to the solution of how this can work for you and how you can meet women and talk to them. But in this, there's an evolutionary drive within us for both men and women to have sex. Now, some of that might be certain physical appearances, certain attributes to us that we evolved to have. Now, a big problem comes into play, and I've talked with Dr. David Buss about it. If you don't know who he is one of the guys. He lives in Austin, Texas. I live in Austin, Texas. We're in Austin, Texas. I'm out with my dogs, all that sort of stuff. But we gave a talk together years and years ago. And with what David Buss was saying is that a lot of these traits, like a heavy brow or square jaw or different features of testosterone, may help with mate choice with women and how they look at them and so on. But he also said it was really interesting that if you have too much testosterone, it actually works as a repellent. So there's a balance that we want to have. You can be too masculine in certain ways and it starts to turn women off. Now, this is all done through showing pictures of men to women and having them talk about it. But what isn't done is actually looking at who those women or who women in general have sex with and the types of sex they have and so on, which we're going to get into because this is where I believe the truth comes out about sex and which is going to be the most beneficial thing to you. So we have these evolutionary traits that we look at, filtered into this modern world, which is all screwed up, which favors different things. There's media influence. There's what we don't have, like if you're sexually deficient, if you have things like you can't communicate well socially, or if you've gone through life isolated, you can have different viewpoints on sex and what that is and how you want it and so on. So we have a lot of stuff that society has allowed us to feel sexually. Now, when we get to our sexual market value, I believe this can most simply be defined, and I want to add a caveat to this, is to do your best. That to look your best, to be in the best physical shape, to get the most amount of confidence, and to have the most amount of ambition and purpose that you have is your best shot at upping yourself in the sexual marketplace. Now, society has screwed a lot of things up, but it's done you a favor in a lot of ways too. Meaning that if you can do your best, if you can really be the best representation of you, not every woman is going to choose you, but the women that do turn their heads towards you are going to like you a lot more. And in fact, if you are not your best, if you are not looking your best, getting your body in the best shape, and you don't need to overdo this, right? If you're not gaining your potential in terms of confidence, if you're not gaining your potential in terms of your purpose and ambition, then you do not have an option Women choose you, and not many women are going to choose you. But let's get into this, and this is the hack when it comes to the sexual market value and your relationship with that. See, what the sexual marketplace and the sexual market value does is it gives you attention, and attention is an advantage. Meaning that if a lot of people look at you and a lot of women look at you, a lot of women that you like and that are attracted to look at you, they give you attention. If they do that, then you have more options to talk to them. But what actually makes them want to have sex with you is not that. And this is where Dr. David Buss and I, perhaps we'll do an interview in the future, had a lot to talk about. Because the choice that a woman has in terms of sex, the choice that her body makes, which is not done cognitively like a lot of feminism and a lot of people talk about, happens independent of a lot of those things. So this is crazy, right? Sexual marketplace, sexual market value gets you attention with women, excess of attention. But sex and the opportunity to have sex, the escalation of sex, almost has nothing to do with that. That if you put a man in front of a woman and there's passable attraction, whatever we want to call that, there's passable. It just means it's not repellent, that it can exist there, that can somewhat sustain for a little bit. Then a beautiful thing happens. We can learn to escalate, meaning that you don't need to have a high sexual market value. You should have one for your own personal benefit. There's a whole bunch of reasons why you should have confidence, why you should have ambition, why you should look good, why you should dress better, why you should have your life in check. It shouldn't just be for women. I get that that's a big motivator to it. But in order for you to get laid, you need to learn how to communicate. You need to learn how to connect. But most importantly, you need to learn how to escalate. Now, this is something that I have lived and taught to thousands and thousands of guys. So learning to escalate has more to do with being a heterosexual man and having a heterosexual woman in front of you and being isolated. Now, you might say, I've been there before, or how do I get there? Well, there's a lot of videos that I have on it in terms of socially communicating and connecting. There's a lot of ways of being social and meeting people, but it's not something that you're going to learn from YouTube. It's not something that you're going to learn from Facebook. It's something that you're going to learn from going out and talking to people and interacting and taking your best self, the confident, the ambitious, the well-kept person, and putting it into this society that may not favor you in all these ways. And I know you're going, man, I've done that. But you haven't isolated women and you haven't escalated properly. So one of the ways that we can escalate properly, and I know this video isn't so much, you might not be coming to it for that, but you should be looking at it. And there's a bunch of videos that I have on sexual escalation that will work like clockwork, that will work mechanically, that are triggered in the best possible way that I've discovered. And I do not hear a lot of people talk about it. Just look up Steve Mayeda, 6 points of escalation, but there's a bunch of videos on it too. So in that, if we learn how to, number one, show intent. Now, there's a whole bunch to intent, but let me just tell you, it's not just saying you look hot. It's making them feel that you want them and that they need to give a response back. And intent, the phase of sexuality begins when they want you back. When you show that you want them, they feel it, and they want you back. That's when we go from social to sexual. Now, we also need to manage that intent. Most pickup and seduction, escalation all has to do with overwhelming a woman, putting sex on them, pushing until they say no or whatever. And no is fine. You know, when somebody says no, we stop. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want to have sex with us. It means that sometimes it does. You have to be able to look. You have to be able to understand. And usually that's them running away or emphatically saying no, get the fuck away from me, da-da-da-da. You know you made a mistake. That's not a mistake you want to make. That's not cool. As a man, like a lot of guys joke about that. I'm sure I've joked about it in locker room talk with guys. But just to you guys who may not have experience out there, that's not what we want. What we want is somebody to say no, but I'm not ready, show me more. And that's oftentimes what it can mean. So when somebody says no, we need to then go to 2. We need to build acceptance of the situation. We need to go to then 3. We need to define comfort and relax. Not overwhelm them sexually. A lot of guys in pickup are dependent upon that. And then 3, elicit their intention. Now these sound like abstract words, but let me take you through it. You put me alone with a woman, all right? I'm gonna have sex with her. Okay, most of the times. Women have choice, they may not. But because sex is a biological language, it's a language that is hardwired in us, it's not something that's logical. So she could sit there and say, man, Steve is 5'7", which I am. I'm 5'7" ¾ actually. But my wife is 6 feet tall, which is crazy, and a model. And she makes money. Oh my God, crazy. But so in that, she might be saying, I don't like short guys. I don't like guys that are half Japanese. I don't like guys that are dating coaches. I don't like guys that are this, this, and that. But if I get alone with her, not to trick her, not because she's going against something that she values, she's got to feel sex in her body. So what do? You know, I begin an act where a sex act can begin. So this is also important because may or may not care about this. But when escalation starts, I want it to be able to complete. So that means I don't start sexual escalation in a club or in a venue or in a cafe where it can't be completed. I want it to be completed and unbroken. Before that, there's actual sexual tension. And that's the thing that I want. And that's the thing that I want to carry out until we begin the escalation. Sexual tension in a public place where it can't be completed. When it can be completed, sexual escalation, okay? So I get a kiss. A bunch of PDFs, videos I have on getting a kiss. There's programs that I've made on it. You should watch them. They're free. There's ones that you can pay for too, where I will help you go through this, and you can be with 1,000 other guys who have gone through it too, okay? So, now that being said, I get a kiss. As soon as I press a little bit hard on this kiss, and this is the sexually hardwired, perhaps evolutionary stuff, but it's so consistent, it's like that. I mean, across the world, thousands of guys have repeated this, but nobody talks about in pickup. They always talk about overwhelming sex, but as soon as a woman gets carried away with that kiss, and then you press a little bit harder, resistance comes. It's like that. It is so quick. Okay, and if you haven't been there yet, do some of the stuff, watch some of the videos that I've done before, and get there. I'll help you. But you need to get there. Stop theorizing about this. This is really at the point we want to talk about to the guys who are escalating. But we get the kiss, all right? She gets carried away with the kiss. We press a little bit harder. Resistance happens. We stop. There's the no. The no happens, but it's not no, get away. It's no, I'm not sure yet. I don't want to be seen as a slut. There's all this different stuff that comes up, right? So in that, we stop. All right, we stop. We accept the situation. We then define comfort and relax. So we want the situation to be accepted rather than her bolting. That's what I mean by that. And then we define comfort and relax. The define comfort and relax is pretty simple. We say, hey, look, I like you. You like me. I don't want to be kissing your fear. Let's just chill out here. Okay, this takes literally, what was that, 5 seconds? We kiss, all right? That's a couple seconds going on. She gets carried away with the kiss. That'll take like 3, 5, maybe 10 seconds. We press a little bit harder. She pulls back. She says, wait a minute, stop. And I say, cool, man, we can stop. Look, I like you, you like me. I don't want to be making out with your fear or anything. I want to be hanging out with you, so let's just do that. Now I got to elicit her intent. And I say, but look, just kiss me how you want to kiss me. You put your action on me. You woman, let me give you choice. Let me have your beauty. And this is one of those things that we see so much with the red pill guys, because there's a lot of anger, don't tell me there's not, towards women. Okay, I get that you love women, I get that you want it, but there's a fear of letting women have beauty, to be beautiful. Let her have her beauty, let her put it on you, let her kiss you. And here's what happens. It's 2 seconds, man, 2 seconds, this happens. I say, man, kiss me how you want to kiss me. Kiss my neck, I want to feel it. They kiss my neck, that naturally turns me on. I go, fuck, man, look at this dick. Look, you want the stick to be yours? And I pull my dick out and they grab it. I can't tell you how many times I've done this. It's over 100, probably under 250, but it's a lot. And to go from 0 to sexual that quick has been done easily over 100 times with me, but more importantly, with all the guys that are in my groups that you can talk to and meet on the Austin Men's Development Board or in our paid tiers of Men's Development Excellence or TSL Online, you can talk to them and see how it happens. It's pretty amazing. Now, in that, of where sex is given to me, I'm in a totally different realm. The social, sexual marketplace, the rules that are taught there go away, all right? The evolutionary things which make somebody pay attention to me and are made them attracted to me and so on, go away. I now enter into a different realm of sex and the language of sex and seduction that influence that relationship. And if you want a woman to choose you, learn how to fuck, learn how to get sexual, and guess what? I got plenty of videos on that too. That'll change your life. In any case, guys, Look, there's a lot of credence to the sexual marketplace, and it's a mix of socially taught things that we have in our society that are kind of screwed up, but also benefit you too. It's influenced and driven and propelled by evolutionary traits that we theorize about. And I'm just going to tell you, a lot of people get wrong. But the choice of sex and what makes people have sex with you once you are in isolation is very different. And that's what I want you to learn. In any case, guys, thanks for watching. Comments, please welcome them. If I'm getting something wrong about red pill theory, please let me know. But I'm trying to add to the dialogue of what this is and help you guys have a good sexual life. Because one, I know how to do that. I've been doing that for years. I've lived that. And also, I don't believe you being your best self is married or tied to an ideology. It can be, but I just want you to live your best self. All right, I'm out.